Good afternoon, students. Welcome all of you in this online teaching class of English core. So today I'll start the business chapter. Okay, so this is on the face of it, written by Susan Hill. So today is the introduction class. So in this class I'll discuss about the author, about the theme, summary part of the story, and tomorrow onwards we'll start the explaining the text. Okay, explanation part. So be attentive and listen. So this is the story of how people are isolated and alienated. Okay, how people are isolated and alienated in the society if somebody is physically deformed, physically challenged. These problems have to face. So this is the story about how to encourage people from the grim of reality of sadness, how to transform them with positive talks, inspiring interaction. If you are physically challenged, if you are incapable of doing and leading a proper life, if you are neglected in the society, how you have to come out. So this is a note, this is the story on the face of it. Okay, so let's start. Susan Hill first is the author of this story. Is an English author of fiction and non-fictional works. So let me remind you, it's not a story actually, even though it is written in storytelling method, short form, but it is actually a one-act play, short play. So where here the characters, dialogues parts are given, how the characters are talking, interacting with each other in a reported speech way. A dialogue. Okay, so this is one act play, short act drama. Susan Hill, okay, was an English author of fiction and non-fiction works. She was born on Feb 5th 1942 in Scarborough, North Yorkshire. She attended Scarborough Convent School, where she became interested in the theatre and literature, and her family left Scarborough in 1958 and moved to Coventry, where her father worked in car and aircraft factories. Hill states that he attended a girls' grammar school, Bars Hill. At Bars Hill, she took a level in English. This is A-level English, okay, you know, and the French, history and Latin also. So not only she acquainted with English language, but she knew also French, history, Latin, proceeding to an English degree at King's College, London. By this time, she had already written her first novel, The Enclosure. This is very important novel, okay, The Enclosure, written by Susan Hill, that period of time. Okay, next move after that. Which was published, okay, Enclosure, which was published by Hutchinson in the first year at the university. The novel was criticized by the Daily Mail for its sexual content, with the suggestion that writing this style was unsuitable for a schoolgirl. An immature age, writing this type of novel was what? Restricted. In 1975, she married Shakespeare scholar Stanley Wells, and they moved to Stratford-upon-Avon. Their first daughter, author Jessica Rustin, was born in 1977, and their second daughter, Clemency, was born in 1985. Middle daughter, Imogen, was the premature and died at the age of the 4 weeks. In the Machine, creator of The Waking of the Dead, who is adapting Hill's crime fiction series Sir earlier for the TV, okay, that is ITV, and Hill has recently founded her own publishing company, Long Barren Books, which has published one work of fiction. So if you summarize Susan Hill's writing, it's about psychological depiction of the characters, how characters being transformed, motivational TED talks. That's why she is known for her fiction, her novel, short stories are definitely perennial flow to contribute a major part in English literature. Okay, just check once, then I'll go through the characters, okay, and the other part. Okay, so it's about Susan Hill, even the long description I had given, but go through the short one. Okay, now characters I'll discuss one by one. It is a play, I already informed you. First character is a Derry, a boy of 14 with a burnt face, looks ugly, loner, pessimistic, suffered from severe negative complexes, anger, frustration, withdrawn and introverted, low confidence, indulge in self-pity, suspicious of the intent of the others. Note it down. So many adjectives given. See here. Pessimistic. Who is pessimistic character? Who is pessimistic person? The person one who thinks the negative aspects of the life. Pessimistic. Okay. Suffered from severe negative complexes. Anger, frustration, withdrawn, introvert, low in confidence, indulge, self-pity, suspicious of the intent of the others. Why? Because one of the face, okay, one of his face got burnt in acid. What happened with Derry? One of his face got burnt with acid. You know the acid? It got burnt your whole face. Then the society disapproves you. Same thing happened with Derry. He had having that the problem of inferiority complex. So note down, it is not given here. Inferiority complex. You know the person has a low in confidence. Okay, all the time he or she thinks that he is or she is inferior in the society. Next character, Mr. Lamb. He is very inspiring. So if you will adjective, if you will put beside Mr. Lamb, all are positive. Even though he had having that tin leg, one of the leg was blown off in the war. Old man with a tin leg, lonely, crept up for company, acceptance, jovial, optimistic, lover of nature. See the adjectives, all are just antithetical to Derry. Okay, outgoing, tolerant, helpful, sensitive, independent, did not mind children calling him lemmy lamb or picking the crab apples. So, if we examine the character of Mr. Lamb was definitely much more confident in character. He was not like Derry, rather he motivated Derry with his TED talks, his inspiring talks. Then even though you are physically challenged, isolated from the society, whatever problem you are facing, you must what? Challenge the people. You must confront and be positive all the time. Next character, Derry's mother is there. Okay. Next is the introduction part of the story. This is the introduction part of the story. So I'll discuss after that. So check once the author and the characters, Derry, Mr. Lamb and mother of Derry. Introduction part. The play depicts a unique bond between a 14-year-old boy, Derry, and an old man, Mr. Lamb. This is the depiction, a bond between 14-year-old boy Derry and an old man, Mr. Lamb. Both of them are physically impaired. So underline this one, must make a note. Physically impaired. Derry's one side of the face is burnt with acid, whereas Mr. Lamb has got a tin leg because his real leg was blown off in war. Derry is withdrawn and he doesn't like being near people. Okay, he feels odd when they stare and when he sees them being afraid of him. Mr. Lamb tells him that being secluded is not a solution to this problem that I said. Mr. Lamb makes Derry aware of the reality of life and encourages him in every way how he can cope up with the impairment in the best possible manner. Thus, Mr. Lamb strikes up a friendship with Derry, and Derry is keen to help him through his mother persuades him not to go back to his garden. Derry goes there but finds the old man fallen on the ground dead. So inspired everything. He inspired the little boy, and when the little boy went home, and after coming back, returning from the home, even though Derry's mother persuaded not to go back to that, acquainted with that old man, but he did not listen. When he came back, he found that the old man lay dead. Okay, he had fallen down on the ground and dead. Okay, so now the next questions might definitely striking in your mind, that is why the title is On the Face of It. Okay, why the title of the story is given that On the Face of It. Is it appropriate? Is it apt? Definitely apt, students. So if questions come, title of the story, you know, several times it has been asked, title of the story. So let me discuss once. On the face of it is an informal expression used to say that something seems to be good, but opinion may need to be changed. Okay, when you know more about it, an individual may be quite different. What we think of him, what he or she may apparently appear to be first glance, so may be quite different from others. So there is an imperative need for us to view others by removing our glasses of prejudice, hatred, hearsay and dislike. On the face of it, Mr. Lamb appears to be a mysterious, lonely, lame fellow who lives in a big garden. When the play starts, it is located in Lamb's garden, and the Derry little boy comes to play with him. He is very kind, he is very generous, loving and altruistic, helpful. Similarly, although what happened? Derry has an ugly looking scary face. That I said that Derry's one side of the face got burnt. So a scary face he had having, and he had that low confidence all the time. Inferiority complex. You know the inferiority complex? The people thinks that he is inferior to others. So this is called inferiority complex he had having due to his face, because it was got burnt in acid. Lamb, what problem the lamb had? Lamb's one leg was blown up in war. So kids mocks him, telling that what? Lamey lamb. Okay? So there is 14 age with a deep longing for love, and there is nothing wrong with Lamb and Derek. What is wrong is the way the people in their lives and around them view and treat them. So nothing wrong in it. If people are physically challenged and incapable, impaired, it's no harm actually. It's not their fault. It is the fault of the people, their mindset, how they accept these people. So this is the story. We should encourage these people in the society. We know. What would be the theme of the story? Okay. Theme is also very important. So what would be the theme of the story? So it is the theme of the story. The people who suffer from disabilities must always look at the bright side of things and adapt reality of life bravely. At the same time, the actual pain or inconvenience caused by a physical impairment is often much less than the sense of alienation felt by the person. This is very, very important, value based. This one must underline it. Okay. That actual pain or inconvenience caused by a physical impaired is often much less than the sense of alienation felt by the person. So this is very important. The pain of inconvenience is in physical impairment is very, very less, but the pain is more intense when you are being alienated by the society, you are being thrown by the society. The title On the Face of It used to mean that something seems to be good and true, but that needs to be changed when you know more about it. Okay. And second thing, one thing is also given here. What is? Appearances are deceptive and most often we go on dealing with impressions and prejudices about other without caring to know about reality. He is a very kind and generous man who longs for company. He loves his fellow human beings along with the other creations. Okay, so you are being judged by your appearances, but it is not the reality. So this is the story actually. People are judged by their appearances, and appearances are deceptive. And what is that we should encourage? The people who are suffering from physically impairment. Okay. Next, I'll give you a summary part. So this is the play. So summary is required. Okay. And tomorrow I'll start the text. See the summary part. The play deals with the problem of the disabled people and depicts that merely the encouraging words may change our tensed feeling. It is for us to see and understand life in every organism. Okay? It doesn't matter what we look like, but it matters how we can uplift a disabled person. It is not the actual pain or inconvenience caused by a physical impairment that troubles a disabled man by the behavior of the people around him. People discard him as a useless limb and refuses to accept him, okay, in the mainstream of life. So he feels alienated from the society and wants to live in seclusion. In a way, Derry suffers from inferiority complex. Mr. Lamb motivates him to think positively about life, people and things. What happened? It is a fine day and Mr. Lamb is in the garden when the play starts. He is old man with a thin leg that I already discussed. He leads a lonely life and is always ready to accept any visitor who comes in his garden. And one day Derry, a young boy of 14, sneaks into Mr. Lamb's garden. He has a burnt face. Derry, with acid, he looks very ugly. He has become defiant and withdrawn due to the disfigured face, and he doesn't want to face the world with his ugly and disfigured face. Derry climbs over the wall and cautiously walks through the long grass. He is quite close to Lamb. He is scared when Lamb speaks to him, and Lamb asks him to tread carefully because the long grass is littered with wild apples and dropped by wind. Derry is utterly confused and has come there considering the place empty. Having been detected by the Lamb, Derry panics and wants to go. Lamb asks him not to leave as he doesn't mind anybody's coming in the garden. But the little boy keeps saying that what are the advices are there that he had comes through by climbing over the garden. And Lamb says the gate is always open. So why are you coming and climbing the wall? So this is the basic difference of attitude. Okay. And tells that why are you coming? That also Mr. Lamb tells that who comes in the garden are welcome, but Derry says that he has not come to steal, but he wants only to come in the garden. He rather tells Derry not to be afraid of anything, but Derry points about that people are afraid of him because of his ugly and disfigured face. It's very important. People are afraid, not me, because my burnt face. Derry adds that he is afraid of himself when he sees his face in a mirror. Lamb tries to console him. He asks him to face the harsh realities of life. Bravely he tries to divert the views Derry from his burnt face and the fruits in the garden, but Derry keeps on talking about the ugly face. Lamb tries to understand that it is the inner beauty of a person that matters, not his outer beauty. Derry doesn't agree with him. He tells Lamb that it is important to be handsome from outside also. Says that even the most and his mother also kisses him on the other side of the face. He says that he has to spend whole of his life with his half face. Mr. Lamb points out there is no difference between a flower plant and a weed, since both are living and growing plants. And Derry remarks that Mr. Lamb can put the trousers cover up the tin leg. And then Mr. Lamb reminds Derry a fairy tale of Beauty and the Beast. One story is there, you know, that Beauty and Beast, in which the princess kisses the beast, who in turn changes a handsome prince. This makes Derry understand that ugliness is only a skin deep. What a man is not when he looks like, but what he really is. It doesn't actually recognize but what he looks, but what he really is. handsome is handsome does. Next part, few lines are there. Let me skip out. Dairy tells that lamb that woman talk to the ugly face. They say that none will kiss except his mother. Mr. Lamb tells him that he must have heard so many other things also. The best thing is to keep the ears shut and need not to pay attention to such talks. Mr. Lamb talks about the bees in the garden. Some people like it, okay. They are buzzing while others hate. But Lamb what calls it a sweet music? It only the difference of attitude. Dave tells that people stare at the face and avoids them. But Mr. Lamb tells that keeping alone is not a fine thing. He tells a story about a man who was always afraid of being run over, the getting infected, or the meeting with some accident. So he locked himself in a room and there a picture fell on his head and killed him. Let me remind you one thing. One story is given here. What happened? This is the story about a man. One man was there and he had a problem in everything. He had fear in everything. So he had decided that he would not go out. He would better that he would shut himself inside a corridor, inside a room. So that after, okay, he every time he used to lock himself inside the room. He never came out. And what happened while he was in the room? A picture fell, okay, on his head and killed him. So see the reality. You must be brave in your approach. If you think that I am better in the house, I will not go out. If I'll be killed, if I will have that accident, if I'll cross the road, if the bus or truck, any vehicle would come and smash you, then if you be inside in the room, even though you can be definitely died one day. So it is not actually. It also kills him. He was in the room and a picture fell on his head and killed him. So these are the stories which definitely move the little boy Derry. Derry says this is family often talks him downstairs, he's not there, they are worried to think is going up and what happened, they are gone, how he'll get in this world. Mr. Lamb doesn't agree with him. Lamb encourages him and he has got 2 arms, legs, eyes, ears, tongue, everything. He is having the brain also. He asks Lamb several questions, the little boy, to know more about him. Mr. Lamb says that he sits in the sun and reads the book. He likes the windows open to hear wind. Lamb tells that he has a lot of friends everywhere. Everybody who comes in the garden is a friend. Derry wonders how a person can be a friend about whom he doesn't know. Derry says there are some people are what? That is there, that they are friend, and some people he hates. But Lamb remarks that hatred would do him more harm than any bottle of acid. Acid only burns our face, so but hatred can burn as what? Us away inside also. Hatred is about that insightful thing, but that acidic part, that is outside. Lamb asks him to be a friend and Derry asks how they can be a friend only in that meeting, but Lamb tells him that he can be more and more friend there at the time, even if he is what? Less interacted. Okay. Derry thinks to help him. He tells Lamb that with one leg he can fall off ladder and die. Derry offers him to help, but he wants to inform that his mother, where he is, since he will be worried. Lamb doubts if he would come back or not. Derry assures that he would come back, but Lamb says to himself that people never come back, though they say they will come back. Derry goes back to the house and tells everything to his mother. Derry says that he wants to go there, sits and listen to things and look. Nobody else has ever said the things like the old man has said, because the little boy was definitely inspired by whom? Mr. Lamb, his motivational talks. So Derry insists his mother that he must go there. He will never go anywhere in the world in spite of mother's strong resistance. Derry slams the door, runs away to help Lamb in collecting the crab apples. So this is the concluding part of the story. What happens when the little boy reaches to the garden, climbs the ladder of the apples? What happened? That Mr. Lamb was there, okay, and then what he was doing? He was on that ladder of the apples and the ladder falls back and Mr. Lamb is killed. Derry opens the gate and says what excitedly? That he has come back. When the little boy enters the gate, he said that I have come back. Suddenly he catches sight of Mr. Lamb. He runs through the long grass and says, I came back, Lemmy Lamb. I did come back, but there is no response. Dairy kneels by him, weeps him, realizes that he has lost his only friend in this world. So when the play ends, we see that is not given that lamb died, but what is given? That his body was actually on the ground. He fell, okay, from the tree, and that he was there on the ground. So the little boy realizes, he started weeping that he has lost his only friend in this world. So this is the story, student. Any problem, then you please ask me here quickly. Theme, just note down. Theme, note down. This part is important, so note down the theme. Let me start the theme part. Any questions you have, then you can ask me quickly. Other students also who are being with me in this class. Theme is important, so I'll discuss the theme once. This is very important, just note down. This part is very important. What? Physical impairment is often much less than the sense of alienation felt by the person. This one, on the face of it, why it has been chosen. Okay, the title also I'll discuss. First theme and then title. So note down number one theme, that actual pain or inconvenience caused by a physical impairment is often much less than the sense of alienation felt by the people in the world. Okay, whatever the problem you have, it's not a dangerous thing. What is crucial, what is dangerous for him, what painful to a person, that you are not being accepted by the people, you are isolated by the people. This is, and the second, that appearances are deceptive, and sometimes, most often, we go on dealing with the impressions that people are good. We judge people, student, we judge people by their appearances, but this is the not reality. If you judge lamb, if you judge dairy, if you are wrong, you should understand and realize the persons with his interaction, talkings, generosity, okay, his sense of acceptance, everything. So you don't judge people by their appearances. Appearances are deceptive. Third thing, what is coming, that we should inspire the people who are physically impaired. We should inspire, we should motivate the people who are physically challenged, impaired, so that they would get the mainstream of the life. Clear? Next is why the title has been chosen and on the face of it. This is important question also, na? Why the title has been chosen as on the face of it. Why? What is the title actually? So this is very important. See the title part. On the face of it is an informal expression used to say that something seems to be good, but this opinion may need to be changed when you know more about it. On the face of it is an informal expression used to say that something seems to be good, but this opinion may not be changed when you know about it. Individual may be quite different from others. We think of him, and what we see apparently appear to be first glance. This is the imperative need. So on the face of it, Mr. Lamb appears to be a mysterious, lonely, lame and old fellow. So if you talk as simply, okay, leave all these words. So why the title on the face of it? Face of it, actually these words, this title has been chosen for giving the appropriateness, giving the stress to a little boy dairy, because he had having what? Acidic face. One side of his face got burned in the acid. So that's why the title is very much informal expression, on the face of it. Whose face has been referred? The face has been referred about the little boy, dairy, who one side of his face got burned in the acid. So we should encourage people, we should motivate these people. Okay, these people means whom? The people who are isolated from the society, who are physically impaired. So that's why it is given on the face of it. It is more about dairy rather lamb, because lamb is what? Is playing the role of a motivator, and dairy is definitely very much pained he is very much isolated, he is extrovert. Okay. Any questions you have, then you can also ask me other questions. Title of the story is important, theme of the story is very important, that I have discussed already, theme and title. So tomorrow I'll start the text. Okay, students, so be with that class, be with me, and that would be the class of explanation of the text and explanation of the text. This is Vista's book, okay, not Flamingo, on the face of it, and this here, this is there, it is not deleted portion. So try to come out tomorrow with reading the text. If you read the text, you read that play properly, and you will be able to understand. So tomorrow I'll explain the line by line. Okay, so this line by line explanation is required, even though it is long, but I'll go through every line, so you will be able to understand. Okay, thank you students for being with me this class. If you have no questions, then it's okay. I'll wait for 1 minute and then I'll close the class, sum of the class. Okay. Okay, no problem. Other students, no problem also. Okay, bye for today's class then. Meet you tomorrow.